was past midnight, and James stood alone at platform 13. The station was nearly abandoned, lights flickering, shadows stretching unnaturally across the empty tracks. No announcements, no passengers, just silence, and the faint hum of something waiting. James checked his phone. No signal. That was strange. This was the busiest station in the city, or at least it was supposed to be. An old man had warned him earlier, never take the last train from platform 13. James had laughed it off. Now, standing here alone, it didn't feel so funny anymore. Then, he heard it. A train coming from far away. The sound grew louder, metal grinding against metal. But something was wrong. There were no lights on the tracks, no headlights, no signals, just darkness, moving. The train stopped in front of him. Its doors slowly slid open. Inside, it was completely dark. No conductor, no passengers, just rows of empty seats disappearing into blackness. James hesitated. Something deep inside him screamed, "Don't get on." But the station behind him had changed. The exit gate was gone, the lights had gone out, and the platform stretched endlessly into darkness. With no other choice, he stepped inside. The doors slammed shut behind him. The train started moving immediately. James walked slowly through the aisle, each step echoing louder than it should. The air inside felt cold, unnatural, like something unseen was breathing beside him. He froze. That wasn't his imagination. Someone or something had spoken. He turned around and saw a figure sitting at the far end of the carriage. The figure didn't move. Its head was tilted unnaturally, its face hidden in shadow. James swallowed hard. "Hello?" he called, voice trembling. No response. He took a step closer, then another. Suddenly, the figure's head snapped toward him. Its face was not human. Eyes completely black, mouth stretched too wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth. And then, it smiled. James ran, heart pounding, breath shaking. The train seemed endless. Every door he opened led to another identical carriage. But now, they weren't empty anymore. Passengers appeared in every seat, all of them staring at him, unblinking, unmoving, their heads slowly turning, following him. And then they all spoke at once. "You shouldn't be here. You missed your stop. Now you stay." James screamed. He reached the end of the train. A single door stood there. He threw it open. It wasn't another carriage. It was darkness, endless, bottomless, and something was moving inside it. A voice, deep, ancient. "All passengers must complete their journey." Hands, cold and countless, grabbed him from behind. The next morning, platform 13 was busy again. People rushing, trains arriving, life normal, as if nothing had happened. A new passenger stood there, waiting, confused, looking around. It was James, but something was wrong. His eyes were completely black. It was 2:17 a.m., and the hospital should have been quiet. But something felt wrong, like the silence itself was hiding something. A young doctor checked the patient file again, making sure he hadn't made a mistake. Ward C, room 13, the so-called locked ward. It had been sealed for over 20 years with no patients and no staff allowed inside. People didn't talk about it much, but the rumors were impossible to ignore. They said that anyone who entered never came back. He didn't believe in ghost stories, at least not until tonight. Because tonight, for the first time, he had been ordered to go inside. The old iron door opened slowly, letting out a wave of cold, stale air. It smelled like antiseptic mixed with something rotten and long forgotten. The corridor ahead looked endless, with dim lights flickering above. Doors lined both sides, slightly open, as if something inside had been waiting for years. He took a few careful steps forward when he suddenly heard something. It was soft at first, almost impossible to notice. A quiet, distant sound of someone crying. "Hello?" he called out, his voice echoing through the empty hallway. There was no response, only the crying growing a little closer. He slowly approached room 13, noticing the door was slightly open. Inside, there was nothing but darkness. He pushed the door open, and the crying stopped instantly. The room was empty except for an old hospital bed. Leather restraints were still attached to it, worn and cracked with age. He stood still, trying to listen, when suddenly he felt it. A presence. Someone standing right behind him. He turned around quickly, but there was nothing there. However, when he looked back at the door, it was now closed. A loud bang echoed through the room, followed by another, stronger this time. The walls began to shake as if something inside them was trying to break free. Then the voices started. Dozens of them, overlapping, whispering, screaming. "Let us out! It hurts. He's coming." From the corner of the room, something began to move. A man slowly stepped into view, wearing a torn and stained coat. His face looked wrong, twisted in a way that didn't seem human. "I've been waiting," he said, his voice low and unnatural. The young doctor stepped back, trying to understand what he was seeing. "This place was closed," he said, his voice shaking. The man smiled faintly. "It was never closed," he replied. "It was sealed." "They brought them here," the man continued. "Patients no one cared about. People no one would miss. And they were treated until they stopped screaming. The walls around them began to change, as if they were alive. Shapes started forming beneath the surface, pushing outward. Hands appeared, followed by faces that twisted and disappeared again. The doctor panicked and ran out into the corridor. But the hallway was no longer the same. It stretched endlessly, far beyond what should have been possible. Doors multiplied along the walls, each one slowly opening. Inside, people sat motionless, staring directly at him. Their eyes were empty, and their mouths were sealed shut. The voices returned, louder now, filling his head. "Stay.
Join us. Help us.
He covered his ears, but it didn't help. The voices were no longer outside. They were inside his mind. The man appeared again, standing right in front of him. "You can't leave," he said calmly. "You belong here now." Suddenly, something grabbed him from behind. Invisible hands pulled him backward as he struggled to break free. He screamed as he was dragged across the floor. Back into room 13. The door slammed shut behind him. The next morning, the hospital felt completely normal again. Doctors worked, nurses talked, and everything seemed unchanged. A nurse checked the records and suddenly paused. "That's strange," she murmured. "A new patient has been assigned to Ward C, room 13. She slowly looked down the hallway toward the locked door. From inside, a faint whisper could be heard. "Help me."